What will the Dodgers postseason rotation look like? Walker Buehler is back. The Dodgers ferocious lineup with Mookie Betts back. How did Gavin Lux turn his season around? The hottest Dodgers takes from you. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium. Dodgers win!
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball.
Grand slam! It's a double for Freddie.
They're going to make big signings. They're going to make impact trades. This is the most anticipated season in Dodgers history.
Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, your daily Dodgers podcast where we got everything you need to know about your boys in blue in less than an hour. My name is Doug McKain, credentialed member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Now, if you haven't yet, do us a huge favor, like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to subscribe to the #1 Dodgers YouTube channel and comment "Go Tawny" down below. That way, you're eligible for our next big giveaway, which we are getting very close to. At 95,000, we are giving away a brand new authentic Shohei Ohtani road gray jersey. All you have to do to win is subscribe to the channel and comment "Go Tawny" down below. Just a reminder that today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your #1 source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% off free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from UFC to baseball to Formula One racing. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to their online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of their over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here. And every episode of Dodgers Dugout Live starts with a poll question of the show. I asked you guys over on the X, who should be the Dodgers Game 4 starter in the postseason? And right now, 38% of you say Gavin Stone, 44% of you say Clayton Kershaw, 10% say Walker Buehler, and 8% say other. Could have a 3-man rotation maybe, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But welcome to the show, and drop your takes down below where you're representing Dodgers Nation from today. We're going to do a segment later. What is your hottest Dodgers take right now? And producer Tony Taters, Mr. Antonio, he's going to be looking for your hottest takes. All your Dodgers takes are going to be featured on the screen. Any super chats are featured on the screen. I got my man Young Lotto, Noise by Noel. He's looking for all your fire takes as well. But gentlemen, let's get into it. The hottest story in Dodgers baseball. We got to start with the leadoff. So Los Angeles Dodgers, they are rolling, and they beat the Milwaukee Brewers last night by a final score of 7-2. And if you look at where the Dodgers sit right now in Major League Baseball, they're tied with the Cleveland Guardians for the best record in the sport at 71-49. The Dodgers, after all these injuries, missing Mookie Betts, an MVP for 2 months, missing Max Muncy, missing key pitchers, having a bottom of the lineup that was one of the least productive in baseball for the vast majority of this season, they still have managed to have one of the best records in the sport, and they still haven't played their best baseball of yet. Yesterday, we got another taste of what it's like to see Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts in the lineup at the same time. And you're seeing the best duo in LA since Kobe and Shaq. And Mookie did not need a break. Mookie did not need to go on a minor league rehab assignment. Mookie said all he needed to do was take some sim game at bats. And just like that, Mookie Betts is already contributing to this team. He looks like he's comfortable in right field. He said as much. And just look at his first game back. Jackson Chourio, he hits one off the wall in left and right, and Mookie plays it perfectly, holds him to a single. So he's making an impact defensively, and he's also making an impact offensively, and we've seen that so far First game back goes 2 for 5. Yesterday he goes 2 for 5. In his first game back, he goes 2 for 4 with a home run. So Mookie, since he's returned, has gone 9 for 4 with a home run and 3 RBIs, hitting .444 with a 1222 OPS. And with Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani, the Dodgers have the best big three in Major League Baseball. They have the best big three, the MV3 as we like to call it, and this is the lineup that doesn't look short anymore. This is a lineup that has depth now, and you saw that on display once again yesterday, what this team looks like when it's close to being full strength. You're going to get Max Muncy back, a power hitter that can hit 36 home runs in a season, and you have a revitalized, resurgent Gavin Lux. You have a Kike Hernandez that can see now. I like the version of Kike that can see. He's clearly a different player. And yesterday, Ohtani goes 1 for 5, hits a home run. Betts and Freeman both collect 2 hits. Teoscar goes 1 for 5. Lux goes 1 for 5, hits a bomb, his 2 RBIs. Will Smith goes 3 for 4. We'll talk about him in a minute. Rojas 1 for 4. Enrique, Kike 1 for 3. Pages goes 1 for 4. Every single Dodger in the starting lineup yesterday recorded a hit. Kevin Kiermaier was a defensive replacement later in the game. Didn't get an at bat, but you have to love what you're seeing for a team that is going to be peaking at the right time. And I think that is the big difference right now. To me, this is as fun as it's been to watch Dodger baseball since 2021. And yes, the Dodgers won 111 games in 2022, and that was a lot of fun. But you have a division race where you're trying to hold off the Padres and the Diamondbacks. You have a league race where you're trying to finish with the best record over the Phillies. And now you're in a position where you can finish with the best record in the sport. And this is after facing a lot of adversity. And the reason why it's so much fun is not only are they starting to play well, starting to get healthy, but you have something to play for. In years past, one of the issues that I think this team had was not playing meaningful games down the stretch. Not playing meaningful games before the big test in October. You're winning tons of games. You're running away with the division. But now there's a lot of competition, not just with other teams, but internally. That is what, to me, makes it even that much more intriguing, is that there is a battle to see who is going to take the final couple of roster spots in the position players. There is a battle to see who's going to fill out this bullpen, who's going to be the Dodgers Game 4 starter. Is it going to be Gavin Stone? Is it going to be Clayton Kershaw? Can Walker Buehler return and have an impact? So I find it fascinating. The Dodgers are in a great spot, and they have certainly looked completely different since guys have gotten healthy. Lux has turned around. Kike's turned around. And the big one is you get Mookie Betts back. But let me know down below in the comment section. Do you like the fact that they are in a competitive division this year compared to what we've seen in years past? Because to me, it just felt like you don't have a lot of tough tests before the final. A lot of easy quizzes. You already have earned your A grade for the quarter. No, they're going to be fighting and scratching and clawing to take this division, this league, and the entire sport for best record. And don't tell me that it doesn't matter. I'd much prefer to have home field advantage throughout the entire postseason than to have anything different. In my opinion, that is key because, yes, I hear the old argument. It's baseball. The hottest team wins. You can be an 88-win team and make it to the World Series. Sure, that doesn't mean it should be the goal because what those Dodgers teams did have in the past was Shohei Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow, Yamamoto, Jack Flaherty, Teoscar Hernandez, lots of key pieces. So I want to see this version of the Dodgers with home field advantage, see how they use it, and then we'll talk about whether or not it's not as important to win in the postseason. But let me know down below in the comment section. Someone says, I'm Blued 84 says Landon Knack as your Game 4 starter. Raymond says, Raymond Riggs Roadhouse, a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. It's a fire tag. I like that. This is Buehler's last chance. We're going to talk about Buehler here in a second. Lots of thoughts on Butane, who's going tonight for the Dodgers. Definitely going to be an exciting one. First time actually starting in the regular season at Milwaukee. And it's, like you said, a massive, massive opportunity for Walker Buehler. BC says Kershaw game 3 starter. Jose Aguirre throwing a Gotani down below. Hector Ramirez, Dodgers are going to dominate this postseason. Gorda says D-Mac, Joe Kelly up for like the pitching gun. So we got some super chats over here. We got Kelly Oshiro. If Walker looks as good as he thinks he feels, Dodgers are on their way to the World Series. So let's transition to Walker Buehler, because that is the big story tonight. Walker Buehler, where has not been officially announced yet. Frankie Montas is going to be on the bump for the Brewers, sporting a 5.10 ERA. He's gone 5-8 this season, 90 strikeouts for Frankie Montas, former Dodger. And the corresponding move when they activate Walker Buehler is likely going to be to option Landon Knack, because Landon Knack yesterday, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He comes up, throws 4 innings, gives up 1 run on 3 hits, had 2 strikeouts. But since he went 4 innings, you're definitely going to option Landon Knack, because the fact is the Dodgers don't need a spot on the 40-man roster. They still have 39 guys. They have that 1 spot open. Walker Buehler wasn't on the 60-day IL, so you just got to find an active spot. So makes the most sense. And Buehler hasn't been fantastic in his minor league rehab starts. Definitely had some rocky outings, but he is coming off his best one, where he went 5 1/3 innings, gave up just a solo home run, and had 5 strikeouts. And his command was as good as we've seen it. He was topping out at a little over 96 on the fastball. He was throwing around 94 on average. And I think the big question for Buehler is how big of an impact was that hip situation that he was dealing with? Because in his 8 starts in May and June, he had posted a 5.84 ERA. And he's been on the injury list for 8 weeks dealing with hip inflammation. He got hit by a ball right near his right knee during a live BP session back in April. And he's going to be on the bump tonight for the first time with hopefully no nagging injuries. Nothing to do with his knee, with his hip. The mechanics have looked better in his rehab starts. Dave Roberts has mentioned the fact that his heavier, different body composition was also playing a role in his mechanics, and the fact that that was hurting his ability to command the fastball. And you just need efficiency from Buehler. You need him to go out there and use the pitch mix that we saw in 2021. I think that is one of the biggest misconceptions with Walker Buehler. Everyone says, what's the take on Walker Buehler that everyone parrots? People say, oh, Buehler isn't the same guy without the sticky stuff. He's not the same guy unless he can challenge you up in the zone with the 4-seam fastball like we saw in 2018, 2019, 2020, when it was prime Walker Buehler. Back in 2019, Buehler was averaging 96.5 miles per hour on that 4-seam fastball. He was throwing it 53.2% of the time. 2020, throwing it 53.8% of the time. Yes, that was his money pitch. The spin rate was up, the perceived rise, the ability to get hitters to swing underneath that fastball, and he had more margin for error. He could dominate you in the zone. That version of Walker Buehler, don't expect that tonight. Don't expect that moving forward, because that's not who he is. He needs to think about reinventing himself completely and going back to the guy we saw in 2021. Because in 2021, after the crackdown on the sticky stuff, Buehler was still one of the best pitchers in baseball. In mid-August, he was the favorite to win the National League Cy Young. He put together a really strong season in 2021. It's not like he completely relied on that sticky stuff to be effective. That's just not the truth. That's just not the story on Buehler. In 2021, he finished his year with a 171 ERA plus. That led all of Major League Baseball. He started career-high 33 games and pitched 207 2/3 innings and posted a 247 ERA. Yes, a good chunk of that was at the beginning of the season, but his best months came after the sticky stuff crackdown. So that's just not the case, is that he relies solely on the sticky stuff. I mean, you go back to 2021, I bring my facts to the fight. If you look at June, a 185 ERA, July, a 167 ERA, August, a 1.56 ERA. He started to fade a little bit in September when he posted a 5.4 ERA. But for the most part, he was fantastic. And the big difference was you saw that pitch mix. In 2021, the four-seam fastball went down to 44.7%. He was throwing more cutter, more sweeper, more knuckle curve. And then now this season, his four-seam fastball usage has almost been cut in half from what we saw him in his prime. His four-seam fastball usage this year is at 28.9%. He's throwing cutter, sinker, knuckle curve. So as long as he can command that fastball, he's going to be able to have success because opponents are hitting 378 off of his heater this season. Back in 2019, they were hitting 205. 2018, they were hitting 176. So I think the increased mechanics, the more efficiency that he's going to pitch with, you could see a rebirth of Walker Buehler tonight. And he talked about it to Bill Plunkett of the OC Register. Buehler said, "It hit me in the perennial nerve, which people have only heard about in the UFC when guys get kicked." So the perennial nerve definitely can impact a lot of your mechanics. The way that you are synced up and you're off balance. And Buehler would go on to say, "I got hit right in that nerve, so my foot was not pushing in that way that I wanted to. So then all I could do was spin and rotate, and I ended up hurting an external rotator in my hip." So he clearly wasn't healthy. And Buehler understands what's at stake. Buehler said, "You can't pitch to a 5 ERA and expect to help us win in October." So he realizes what's at stake tonight, and this is a massive opportunity for Buehler. And also could be the beginning of the end. That's how big the stakes are for Walker Buehler tonight. If Buehler goes out there and he gives up 6 runs and pitches 3 1/3 innings and he gives up a couple home runs, then you could start to say, uh-oh, have we seen the last of Walker Buehler? Because at that point, could you say that he's better than Landon Knack? Could you say that he's better than Justin Robleski? Could you say that Bobby Miller might earn another opportunity before Buehler? Because that is the big issue, is the home runs. This season, he's given up too many home runs. He's left too many out over the heart of the plate. His home runs per 9 this year sits at 243. The next highest before that was 172, and that was in 2020. But in 2022, that was at 111. So a 243 home runs per 9, that's extremely high. And the home run to fly ball ratio is at 23.3. So bottom line, too many home runs he's given up. And he needs to at least have something to build on tonight. Something positive. I'm not asking for a perfect game. I'm not asking for a no-hitter. I think that what he needs is something where he looked better than he did in those 8 starts this season, where he posed that 5.84 ERA, where he is in a position where the fastball command looks better. He's working on the edges. You're seeing the effective secondary pitches with the knuckle curve and the cutter, but the stakes are extremely high. I see someone saying, Buehler, let's see. Yeah, absolutely. And one of my favorite movies of all time, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And what does Ferris say? Life moves at you pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Well, that's how this season could go for Walker Buehler tonight. The season could go by fast if he doesn't go out there and seize this opportunity. Kelly Oshiro says, from Buehler, I want to see command. Nando. We got Nando in the chat. Give you a bruh. As always. But he didn't have to say anything. I know it's going to be something. Positive energy for Walker today, guys. Let's go. That's from SK. C-Ross says, butane is showing out tonight. Book it. I definitely feel a lot better right now knowing that this is a pitcher that did what he thought he had to do to get the mechanics in line. He didn't go down to the minor league level. What Buehler did is he went down to Florida. He went to the Cressy Sports Performance in Florida. He worked on his delivery. He worked on the hip. And what Buehler said is that he was able to fail for 2 weeks if he needed to and stick with it without trying to feel like he needed to get major league hitters out. So I think there's been a big mental break for Buehler. I think there's been some breakthroughs for him as far as the mechanics and the health goes. And if he can look anything like the 2021 version of Walker Buehler, he certainly is going to be in the conversation to be the Dodgers Game 4 starter. If he looks anything less than that, Gavin Stone had a nice outing yesterday after struggling since the 9-inning shutout against the White Sox. Clayton Kershaw had a really nice start on Monday. So there is competition for the 4th spot in the postseason rotation. That is absolutely what's at stake right now. Rosemary Rodriguez watching from work. Butane, please come back. Like I said, low octane butane. You can't expect the 93. Hopefully we get the 91. You can't get the 87, right? We need a little premium there. So hopefully we get a little bit of that. This is from Alex Renteria. Buehler needs to reinvent himself like Kershaw did, but I'm not sure that dog in him will let him reinvent himself. He used to overpowering hitters. That's from Alex Renteria. I think that's true to a certain extent, but at this point, it's adapt or die for Walker Buehler. If we're being quite honest here, he's a free agent. The Dodgers, they're not going to extend him that qualifying offer at over $20 million unless he pitches really well for the rest of the season and in the postseason. I mean, he'd probably accept that. Or does he sign a Jack Flaherty type of deal like he signed with the Detroit Tigers? 1 year, $14 million to try to bet on yourself and try to reestablish your ability around the league. So he's got a lot of incentive to go out there and pitch well. We got Rosemary Rodriguez. Still believe in him, though. He had to fight for it. Yeah, and look, that's the thing. If you're going to bet on someone, Buehler is a safe bet. Buehler is someone who, if he fails, if he doesn't go and have the success that you expect him to have, it's not because of lack of work ethic. It's not because he didn't research every single possible way to get back out there and be effective. This is just someone who's had 2 major arm surgeries. And you've had the Nathan Eovaldi's, you had Jameson Taillon, you have certain examples, but they're far and few between. So he's said it before, how Nathan Eovaldi kind of is someone that he's kind of modeled his rehab. He's been inspired by as far as someone that's come back and has been able to reestablish himself in this league as a frontline starter. Well, let's see if he can do it. So, yeah, lots of intrigue tonight. Gorda says, D-Mac, can I get a bruh? My coworker said option Mookie and call up Alan Trejo. You know, you get 2 bros for that. Bruh. And your coworker is not getting employee of the month. Guarantee that. They think like that. Buehler is done from David Raw. Interesting. Who cares? What's for lunch, guys? Mr. Classic Nando 390 says, what about piggyback start of Buehler and Kershaw in October if they're both pitching well? That's not the worst idea. It's a fire take. I think Kershaw is someone that wants to go out there and pitch 5 or 6 innings. Buehler is someone right now that just wants to be a part of the mix. I said a couple days ago, it's the SpongeBob meme. He doesn't want to be Squidward looking out of the blinds at Patrick and SpongeBob having fun in the postseason. He wants to be a part of this team. He wants to help them any way he can. I think he would embrace any role. And the fact that he has velocity, and that is something that you have to remember as well, is that it's not like he's had this big Noah Syndergaard like velocity dip. Even this season, he was averaging 95.5 miles per hour on his 4-seam fastball. That's more than what he averaged in 2021 when he averaged 95.3. So one of the first things you look for is, can I get the velo back? Check. Next thing, can I get the command back? That's check. Then you got yourself a decent starting pitcher in baseball. So I'm not giving up on Buehler. I don't know about you guys. I think tonight Walker Buehler makes a statement. I think tonight Walker Buehler shows that mettle. I mean, let's not forget, this is a champion. This is someone who at one point was, I think, the best postseason pitcher since Madison Bumgarner. I mean, that's the kind of dog that he displayed at his peak. Yes, there were some high wire acts, but hey, I'm betting on Buehler. But let me know down below in the comment section. Now, as far as the postseason mix goes, that's the big question. The top 3 are locks. Tyler Glasnow, he's your ace. He's getting the ball in game 1. Game 2, it does depend on how Yoshinobu Yamamoto looks when he returns. And we do have a little update on top of the yesterday's update for Yamamoto, and that is that he did successfully throw that bullpen session yesterday. He threw 2 innings, threw 40 pitches in Los Angeles, And he's scheduled to join the team in St. Louis on Friday, and he's going to throw a 2-inning sim game where he's going to face Dodgers hitters. And at that point, they're going to make a good decision if he's ready for a minor league rehab start. So everything is trending in the right direction for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. We are going to see Yamamania once again. So he has had no setbacks. He's been on the IL since June 16th, dealing with that rotator cuff strain. But Yamamoto has said that it's not a concern as far as how he feels, and he feels extremely confident that he's going to get back to that guy that we saw after the start against the Padres. Yamamoto in his last three starts, hit a .60 ERA. Yamamoto was on his way to entering that Rookie of the Year mix. And we were talking about before the show, me and Tony Taters, Jackson Merrill certainly running away with that Rookie of the Year. He's almost a 3-WAR player at this point at 17 home runs. But Yamamoto, I mean, you saw what he did in New York against the Yankees. 7 innings, no runs, 7 punch outs, 10 ground ball outs. I mean, he was fantastic. 106 pitches. He was dominant. So Yamamoto's your game 2 starter or Jack Flaherty. It's one of those two guys. But the top 3 are locks. Glasnow, Yamamoto, Flaherty. That is your top 3. And as far as game 4 goes, who's in the mix? Gavin Stone had his best start in a while yesterday. It was definitely a very pleasant sight to see Gavin Stone get back on the schneid yesterday and have success. Great night for the Stoners out there. He goes 5 innings, allowed 1 run on 3 hits, had 6 strikeouts. And if there is a concern, the pitch count, 86 pitches in 5 innings, you want to see less foul balls, less deep counts, some more swing and miss. But still, that was a very, very positive step for Gavin Stone yesterday. He needed that start in a bad way. In his 6 starts since that shutout in Chicago, he had posted a 6.91 ERA. A 6.91 ERA in his last 6 starts. And he had been giving up a lot of home runs. In that stretch, he had served up 8 dingers in 27 1/3 innings. And before that, he had given up just 6 home runs in 89 innings. So first 89 innings, he had allowed 6 home runs. Last 27 1/3, he had matched that and added 2 with 8 home runs. So the home run ball certainly continues to be an issue. Yesterday, William Contreras, he hit one off of Stone there in the 3rd inning, but it's a solo home run. It was a solo home run, and he only gave up 3 hits. So definitely that's a very, very positive outing. Gave 1 run on 3 hits, 5 innings of work, had 6 punch outs and no walks. So really encouraged by the start I saw from Gavin Stone. But let me know down below, who is your game 4 starter? Knack is here to stay. He's a stud. Jose Aguirre, I think he's going to be in this organization to stay, but I think he's going to get optioned for Walker Buehler today for the active roster. We got to Cole, D-Mac, Glasnow, Flaherty, Yamamoto, Stone starters, Kirsch, Walker, Robo, and Knack as piggyback ups to the starters. 5 relievers give us the trophy. Wow. I mean, that's not a lot of relievers there. And that puts a lot of strain on your starters to guarantee they're going to go deep into games. The average for starters in the postseason per start is hovering around 5. So that number's continued to go down. And really the postseason increasingly has become a battle of the bullpens. And it just depends on how guys look when they return. Do you get Brusdar Graterol back? Ryan Brazier has been fantastic in his rehab start. Still hasn't allowed a run in 6 2/3, has 10 strikeouts and no walks. Blake Trinan is going to be back. Daniel Hudson has pitched well all season. I know a lot of you guys want to trade Joe Kelly for a bag of half-eaten Cheetos, but I'm not giving up on Joe Kelly because the stuff is still there. The velocity is still there. The command just isn't. He needs to improve the command, but the horizontal break is there. The movement is still there. He just has to find it. And he's someone that once the adrenaline starts pumping in the postseason, he's done it there in the past. So I'm not giving up on Joe Kelly. Someone says Kelly stays. Glasnow, Yama, Flaherty, Stone, Kershaw from Gore to Smashers. BC, no teams on pace for 100 wins. And it's been a long time since we've seen that. But I will say the Dodgers are on a run right now. I mean, the Dodgers are on a run. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. 8 of the last 10 games. And this feels like It's that Dodgers summer run that we've been waiting for. And the big difference is, well, they're healthy. I mean, they've taken 3 in a row against the Pirates. They swept the Buccos, and they've taken 2 games so far against the Brewers. So the Dodgers on a 5-game winning streak. They've won 8 of their last 10 games, sitting at 71-49. But this division as a whole, the Diamondbacks 68-53, the Padres 68-53, the Giants, who I know I said SF equals season finished, but they're at 500 now too. So a very, very competitive division. Now, we got Ruben says Bobby Miller. That's coming Friday. Buehler had to reschedule a little bit. So we'll have Bobby Miller on Friday. Be on the lookout for that. Jonah said, Doug, where's the Dodgers Nation hats? We are working on those. I got Young Lotto on it. Hey, this is production, man. You got the during the COVID, the production's been down. And that's an excuse. That sounds like an excuse, but we're on the hats. We're on the hats. Trust me. I kind of, what's your favorite Dodgers Nation hat? Is it the gray? Is it the black? I'm feeling a navy one with a white logo. We're going to do some Dodger Dugouts hats for sure.
Gray jerseys, but you got it on the hat.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's like they're playing on the road today. So it makes a lot of sense. And you know what? Let's switch gears. We're going to get back into the roster. We're going to get back into Gavin Lux. I want to talk to you a little bit, but how about the new Selly? Did you guys see yesterday? Kike Hernandez broke out the new Dodgers Selly, and Dave Vassay, he asked Kike about it after the game, and he said some things don't need to be explained. And super chat, Whack'em Sticks. We'll get into the Selly here. D-Mac, I'm feeling great about this team. The 2 keys, Lux starting to match has really solidified the middle of the batting order, and all of our injured players are making returns. We're going to peak at the right time in October. That's a fire take. It's a comment of the show from Whack'em Sticks. Could not agree more. That is the big difference. The bottom of the lineup has some depth. Guys are getting back. Also, there's a sense of urgency knowing they have to win. They have to, okay? You have to win this division. You have to maintain your spot. Pika Peep says the Navy for them. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on this? Let's run that one more time, Tony Taters. There's Kike. And the first thing I saw when I saw it, that looked like the Australian breakdancer. And have they confirmed that that's who it is?
No, like Kike didn't say anything about it, but pretty much everybody on social media is putting them side by side. And it looks just like it, so I'm sure that was why he did it.
It has to be it, right?
Yeah.
It has to be it. What's your take, Tony Taters? That's her, right?
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but I think it looks cool.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You didn't watch the Olympics?
You know what I like the most?
Baseball, dude.
What I like the most about the clip is the telling him to stop, and Kike's like, "All right," like, and then he could've.
Yeah, that's the best thing. He's gonna calm down a little bit. Just calm down.
He's like, chill. Then Kike stops.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a sight to see there. I mean, I was laughing wholeheartedly when I first saw that because I was like, okay, this has to be it. But yeah, it's okay. I give it like it's very topical. It's very current. I give it like a 6.
6.
I give it a 6.
I'll give it like a 7.5.
7.5. You like it?
I feel like Kike has dances that are a lot better than this, but like you said, he's doing it to stay in touch. The Olympics just ended. He probably told like his family that he was going to do it, or his teammates. So yeah, maybe it was like a little dare. They were like, just go out there and pop and see if you go viral. So I give it like 7.5. I
mean, I just like the fact that he can see. But yeah, I mean, the fact that if he busts out the ray gun right there, it's definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting. We got let me get you guys rating down below. What do you think about the Dodgers' new, inspired by the Australia? What was her name? Rachel Raygun or something? Rachel Raygun. Yeah, interesting name. I mean, it's the kangaroo move right there. Man, what a shining star. Did she win gold? I mean, come on now. D-Mac, do you think that Friedman will bat 4, 5, or 6, or will he go back to the 3 spot? That's from Jonah. I think that it's pretty evident at this point that they want to break up the lefties in Ohtani and Freddie, and that you're going to have Mookie batting in between them, and you don't want to have Freddie go down anymore because you want to maximize his at-bats, and that's why he's going to stay in the 3 hole. So I think that's absolutely going to be the move right there. Nando390 says Buehler out of the pen would be better. Roy Estrada says, D-Mac, bottom line, Buehler was sucking before he got hurt. It's what have you done for me lately? What did he do in 21 when you were younger means nothing today. All those are true. It's not about what you have done for me. It's about what you're going to do for me. I agree with that. Don't disagree. having said that, let's see what a healthy Walker Buehler looks like. Let's see what a Walker Buehler that isn't pitching with a pinched peroneal nerve, that has a full strength of mechanics, and he also has the incentive of knowing he's pitching for his Dodgers career. He's pitching for his postseason contract. He's pitching for his offseason bag. So he's got a lot to really gain tonight. So let's see it. If I had to handicap my confidence, I'd probably say it's at like a 4.8 as far as Buehler, just because he's been leaving fastballs out over the plate all season long, and the home runs have continued to be an issue for him. And unless he reestablishes that fastball command, it's going to be a long night, and it's going to be a long day for him in the future if he gets another opportunity. But I certainly think that if he at least has something to build on tonight, then they can revisit him and give another chance to try to make this team. But next thing I want to talk about, though, is Gavin Lux. A big let's go Dodgers for Gavin Lux. I mean, what this guy has accomplished this season, I think right now, Gavin Lux is the story of the year for the Dodgers. Yes, you have Shohei Ohtani, 40-40, 50-50, but we knew that is a possibility. It's Shohei Ohtani. He's superhuman. But Gavin Lux has had one of the most dramatic in-season turnarounds in Dodgers franchise history. The first half of the season, Gavin Lux hit .213, had a .267 on base, slugged .295, had a 60 weighted runs created plus, had a 15.3% strikeout rate, which wasn't good because it meant that he wasn't taking as many risks. And yeah, he absolutely turned his season around in a huge way. We're going to talk about Gavin Lux next, coming up on Dodgers Dugout Live. What up, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here to remind you that if you have not yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Dugout Live podcast. You can find it wherever you get your podcast. So if you want to listen to the show in audio form, when you're driving to Dodger Stadium, when you're driving from Dodger Stadium, when you're commuting to work, wherever it is, you definitely want to lock into the podcast. We're going to start featuring some podcast exclusives, interviews. So definitely, even if you do watch the show daily on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Dugout Live podcast wherever your podcast. So be sure to do that. It really supports the channel. And as always, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out. Welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers show here on YouTube. If you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and hit that like button. But let's dive back into Gavin Lux. So, like I said, Gavin Lux changed the entire trajectory of this season. It's one of the stories of the year for the Dodgers. First half, he struggled. Hit .213, had a .267 on base, slugged .295, had a 60 weighted runs created plus. Offensively speaking, he was ranked 351 out of 397 players with a minimum of 90 plate appearances. Second half of the season, Gavin Lux is hitting .347. That's 10th in baseball. Has a .415 on base. That's 13th. Has a .611 slug. That's 19th. He's hit 4 home runs, 7 doubles in 23 games, 82 plate appearances. His 185 weighted runs created plus is 13th in baseball. Gavin Lux, since the All-Star break, has been a top 15 hitter in the sport after being one of the least productive hitters in the sport for the first part of the season. And who can we thank about all this? Well, we can thank Gavin Lux for having that mental toughness, for having that resiliency and persevering, but also we can thank Uncle Augie. And if you saw yesterday's game, the camera panned to him, and he deserves a ring. And if the Dodgers get a World Series championship, Uncle Augie is getting a ring for helping turn Gavin Lux's season around. Now let's dive into it. During the All-Star break, Gavin Lux went up to Wisconsin, to where his home is from, Kenosha, Wisconsin, and he took batting practice with Augie Schmidt. Augie Schmidt is his uncle. He's also the head coach of Carthage College. They're the Firebirds, a D3 college. He's been the head coach there for 38 years in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And the Carthage College baseball team, they're one of the best in their league. And he was a minor league shortstop from 1982 to 1986. And he has been Gavin Lux's most important coach throughout his career. And they went back and they looked at his best swings when he was at his peak in 2022, when you saw him doing damage. And they said, you know what? You need to be a little more aggressive. You need to put the ball in play. You need to take advantage early in counts. And you've seen that. He's swinging faster. The bat speed is up. The exit velocity in the second half has gone from 87.9 miles per hour to 90.2 miles per hour. So he's tearing the cover off the baseball. And the big reason why is the fact that he's more aggressive early in counts. And Gavin Lux told The Athletic, in the minor leagues, it was always like the first two pitches are mine to do damage. The pitcher makes a good pitch on the corner or down the way, and I don't feel like I can do damage on it, then I'm going to take it. Then once you get 2 strikes, then it's try to fight and put the ball in play. But those first 2 are mine. From there, you just grind it out. And earlier in the season, it was almost like a 2-strike mentality from the first pitch. So that has been the big dramatic change for Gavin Lux. Is early in counts, he's not taking pitches that he can drive, that he can do damage with. He is being aggressive. He's not afraid of the results. And you're seeing it reflected in his numbers. The strikeout rate in the first half of the season when he was struggling was at 15.3%. You might say, oh, that's good. That's promising. I like that. But no, the numbers were down because he was taking too many pitches. He was in between. He was overthinking at the plate. Second half of the season, he's striking out more. That strikeout rate has gone from 15.3% to 26.8%. So he's striking out more, but he's also having more success. And that's a byproduct of being aggressive at the plate. So Gavin Lux has completely not only turned his season around, but turned the Dodgers season around, and he's changed what they've done with their roster moves. Because if Gavin Lux doesn't put together this second half that he's having, and he had continued to put up the numbers that we saw in the first part of the season, he was 100% going to be optioned. And Mookie Betts was going to move back to second base. So it changed the entire roster makeup, and it's a part of the reason why Ahmed Rosario ends up getting DFA'd when he did. And I think part of that was to do right by Ahmed Rosario, give him an opportunity to catch on somewhere so he can have some success. Nick Ahmed, I saw Bruce Kuntz tweet out that Nick Ahmed reached his 10 years of service time. Maybe that's a reason why the Dodgers have had a lot of guys do that this year. Miguel Rojas and Kike Hernandez being a couple other guys that have done that this season. But that is why Mookie Betts is in right field and not at second base. It is because of the success of Gavin Lux. And not only does it change the remainder of this season and give them a more dynamic bat down in the lineup who can get on base, who can slug at times, who can put the ball in play, who's a dynamic base runner, but also in the future. What do you do with Gavin Lux after this year? Do you keep him at second base where he's played above average defense and he's now above average bat? Or do you give him another opportunity at shortstop? I think that the Dodgers have some options. We talked about Willy Adames as a potential free agent target. Could you, though, if Teoscar is the perfect fit, re-sign Teoscar and give Gavin Lux another opportunity at short and then put Mookie where he was originally supposed to go this season at second base? It's possible, because part of the reason why he's had success offensively is because he has more trust in his lower body. He's in sync. He feels connected to the ground. And I think that will also translate to playing shortstop once again and his ability to make the throws. Like I said, if you look at arm strength, yes, he's never going to be a guy that has a rocket at short, but his arm strength was similar to Dansby Swanson's a couple seasons ago when he filled in for Corey Seager. So it's not outside the realm of possibility because, hey, do you really want to pay your shortstops that are getting close to 30 or north of 30? That's something that the Dodgers might not want to do. I have heard that there is interest with Willy Adames, though. That's definitely something that is legitimate. But look at the Lux home run. The Lux home run yesterday, an absolute tank yesterday. A 2-run shot. And when in the at-bat did it occur? The very first pitch. He cranked that sinker. Boom! Look at that shot. In front of his family. He had 58 friends and family. I loved it too. When they panned to his family, You could tell they were getting texts that they were on TV and they were kind of starting to like freak out. Did you see it? You notice that? Yeah. 20 of them, man. I mean, 58 apparently.
58?
I mean, he's like, I need tickets, man. That's a homecoming. So shout out to Uncle Augie Schmidt. Where do you guys see Lux fitting in the future, though? I think at the very least, you have to feel good about the fact that Gavin Lux is going to be a part of the foundation of this team moving forward. You cannot sign everyone. You cannot get all of your pieces externally. You have to hit on homegrown talent. And he has another arbitration year in 2025 and another arbitration year in 2026. So he's not going to be a free agent until after the 2026 season. So either you have a dynamic above average second baseman, or can he slide over to that premium position? If I'm Gavin Lux, I'm saying, you know what? Give me another shot at short, because he's got the range for it. He's got the athleticism to do it. The question is, can he make the throws and can he handle it mentally? I think that he's proven to himself this season that he can rise above despite falling to the lowest lows this season. So I certainly think he has the potential to give shortstop another try. He's never going to be an elite defensive shortstop, but you can justify it with the bat. So I like it. And Noah Adames for shortstop from Lakers. On another team says Bilal K. Bilal K, look, if you want to trade him on a high, that's what you could do too in the offseason if you really wanted to go that route. Hey, guys, we got to talk about all the options on this show. Raymond Riggs Roadhouse 999 super chat. You know, I appreciate you. I'm going to give you a comment of the show for that one. We got Abs Track says in the 199 super chat, is Buehler's ego too big to come out of the bullpen? I personally don't think it is. I think this version of Walker Buehler, understanding the situation, knowing he doesn't have very many opportunities left to catch on with this team and be a part of their postseason mix, if they thought that was a possibility, I think that he would embrace that. And someone threw out the idea, I think it was Nando, a opportunity as a piggyback level starter. He's got stuff that could play up in the pen. But the number one, if we don't see fastball command tonight, all these other topics are moot. All these other points are moot. We have to see fastball command, and he has to keep the ball in the yard before we find a role. For him, we just don't want him to get chased tonight. We want to have some success tonight. Oh, God, I forgot about Trey's atrocious defense from J Bull at TC. Yeah, go back to Game 2 of the 2022 NLDS, where he boots the Will Myers ground ball. That led to the Profar base hit. I'll never forget that. I remember the losses more than the wins, I swear. I don't know about you guys. But is Lux's upside at short better than Mookie? From Cole, good question. I think the answer is yes, because of age, because of the fact that Mookie, I think, has had this experience to the point where he realizes, hey, at 31, it's unrealistic to think that you can be an MVP caliber bat and learn one of the most difficult positions in sports on the fly. I think that Mookie's better than Ahmed Rosario, but I think Gavin Lux, it's a fair question, because, I mean, if we see the Gavin Lux we saw during spring training, the answer is no, because that's what led to Mookie Betts, right? But I'm so impressed by the growth of Gavin Lux this season, and that his ability to persevere under immense pressure, that why not? I mean, guys can grow, certainly. So I definitely think that the upside is there for the Dodgers, in the sense that, hey, you don't want to put extra strain on Mookie. You have to put him in positions where he's best optimized, and that is focusing on what he can do at the plate. We got WB, how much longer is Lux under team control? Answer that one. He'll be a free agent after the 2026 season. So, okay, next topic. We're going to have some fun here. What is your hottest Dodgers take right now? So a little designated Twitter. Let's see down below in the comment section. What is your hottest Dodgers take right now? Alex Alvarez over on the X says, the Dodgers are going to DFA Jason Hayward. It's a fire take. It's a hot take. I will say that, are you going to keep Jason Hayward and Kevin Kiermaier? Because clearly they like Kevin Kiermaier as a late defensive substitution. He's still the best defensive center fielder in the league, in my opinion. He's also got a couple hits, can lay down a bunt, can put the ball in play. He's a veteran. Jason Hayward, on the other hand, is someone who was very productive for them last year, had a 121 weighted runs created plus, had over 90% of his at-bats against right-handed pitching. But the question is, how do you use Jason Hayward now because Mookie Betts isn't right? So this is another part of that domino effect of Gavin Lux bouncing back this year and locking up his spot at second base. Is you have your corners locked now. Teo's in left and Mookie's in right. Jason Hayward can play some center field if you decide maybe you want to see Tommy Edman at short, but they like Miguel Rojas there as their everyday shortstop. Hayward can play some center field, but if he's coming off the bench, who do you bat him for? Miguel Rojas? And if you pinch hit Miguel Rojas for him in that situation, well, guess what? You have to burn 2 players, right? Because then who's going to play shortstop after that? So just top of mind, that's kind of what I think about. And you look at Jason Hayward this season, the weighted runs created plus has gone from 120 last year to 87 this year. So he's been 13% below league average offensively compared to 20% above league average last year. You're seeing less power and really it's just the fit's not there. So it's not outside the realm of possibility. I mean, let's just see how these last couple of weeks fare. I will say if it was someone else that was putting up Jason Hayward's numbers and he wasn't Freddie Freeman's best friend and Mookie and him are very close too, he's as respected as anyone in that clubhouse. Those intangibles definitely factor in. Not saying I totally agree with that, but just letting you know something that does play a factor. So give me some more hot takes. Tony Taters, you got any, you definitely throw them up in there as well. So this is from Habitual Line Stepper. Sounds like it could be Buddy's profile name, but he says there's still no indication that anyone will step up during the playoffs. It's going to be the same issue we have every playoffs. The big backs go silent and the pitching doesn't come through in big moments. So that is his hottest take right now. My question is, how are you going to judge something that you haven't seen? We have never seen Shohei Ohtani in the postseason with any team, let alone the Los Angeles Dodgers. We've never seen Tyler Glasnow be the ace of this team or Yamamoto pitch for this team. So I think that you have to reserve judgment until you see this version of the Dodgers on that stage. If you want to let the past moments kind of traumatize you about this year's team, then go for it. But I'm just here to let you know that you have to, at the very least, give these guys an opportunity to see what they can do. Lots of dogs on this team. Lots of dogs. Teo's a dog, man. Ohtani, do you see the WBC? You think he's going to go outside in the postseason? Hell no. Ohtani's winning World Series MVP. You heard it here. And this is from Trying to Reason with Hurricane Season. Love these names. This is his hot take. Walker Buehler, is he going to be back as the stud he once was, or has he descended into a head case that may have to leave the team to find his way outside the organization? Buehler will be done. So we kind of talked a little bit about that. Let's see how he fares today. This is from Darvin Hamhater. Pages should be optioned when Edman comes to the team next week. I wouldn't say that's too scorching hot of a take, especially when you consider the fact that Pages does have those options. I will say that Pages' defense yesterday, you saw another miscue. You don't feel great about him in center field. He's more of a corner outfielder. And like I said, those corner outfield spots are locked. But what Pages can be is a powerful bat off the bench. So there's a good chance that he is the best bench option that's available if outside of Kike Hernandez, really, that could play that role once Edman is back. So that's definitely a possibility, though. I will give you that one for sure. We got some more hot takes here. Jose says option Pages and bring him back in the postseason. We got Owen Box says Outman to Uncle Augie's house stat. Yeah, everyone's got to move in there and have the chiropractor go there and have the optometrist go there, and then the Dodgers will win the World Series in 4 games. We got, here's this from Chance. I like this one. Pretty simple hot take. World Series champs in 4. It's a fire take over there. Masail Tamayo says, need Will Smith to keep getting locked in. Will Smith is going to go off for the rest of the season. Well, you definitely got a very positive day yesterday. How about this for Will Smith? Last 5 bombs he's hit have gone against the Brewers. If he plays the Brewers every single day, Will Smith is going to the Hall of Fame first ballot. But he had a really nice day yesterday. 3 hits for Will Smith, was in the mix, needed a triple for that cycle, and he hit his first home run in a long, long time. He had been 100 plate appearances since his last bomb, and he hit one on July 5th, and then he hit one in his first at-bat on July 6th. During that stretch, he had gone 12 for 87, was hitting 138 in that stretch. So it was definitely a positive side to see Will Smith get back with the power. They need him to be that guy. And I've said on this show, Will Smith, they need to be a guy, not the guy. And when you force him in the cleanup spot, I think you force him to be the guy. And I think he's better suited down the lineup where he doesn't have as much pressure and he can still come up in big spots. I mean, he was still hitting 350, something around that in the cleanup spot early in the season. But I think for the course of an entire season, it makes more sense for him to be down the order. And you bring up Pages too. Pages, he hit his first home run since June 18th. That was 165 plate appearances. So, like I said, competition is really one of the big themes down the stretch, and Pages is certainly in that mix. So a couple more hot takes here, guys. We're going to get out of this one. We got Johnny Guest says, I must give Lux huge props. I was a doubter, and he proved me wrong. Yeah, Leo, I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that you doubted him, but you're also... you feel good about it, right? Everyone wants to see these guys succeed. Mr. Classic, sorry, Gavin Lux is the bomb. Okay, the bomb. You little fire take for that one. Some more hot takes here. Animal Style Fries says, Miggy Rowe is the real leader of this team. It's a pretty hot take. It's a pretty hot take. I will say that he's one of the vocal leaders of this team. He's definitely a respected veteran. I think there's a lot of lead by example with the Otanis and Bettses and Freemans. But yeah, no doubt about it. Rojas definitely has a strong voice. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's the leader, but he is a part of the contingency of leaders. I actually asked Miguel Rojas this question, now that I think of it. And you know what he told me when I asked him who the leader of this team was? He said Dave Roberts. He said Dave Roberts is the leader of this team because he delegates and he uses players to get to other players. So found that pretty interesting for sure. Then Brandon says Dave Roberts has squandered more talent than any manager in history, and his failure to win multiple World Series in the past 8 years is a strain on the history of the organization. That's from Brandon S. He's got the highest win percentage of any manager in the regular season. I've always said he needs to win 2 to win 1 for this fan base. And yeah, there's a lot at stake for Dave Roberts. He absolutely needs to have a deep postseason, probably a World Series appearance to really win over a lot of the doubters this season. But he's been very stable. He's given a lot of stability, and players will tell you they love playing for Dave Roberts. But let's reserve judgment on Doc until this postseason, because if he gets a fully healthy roster and gets swept in the DS, he certainly deserves to be on the hot seat. But if he can advance and win a World Series, he'll have this job as long as he wants it. So that's as big as stakes as you can really have. Dave Roberts could possibly get fired, or if he wins a World Series, he could have this job as long as he wants it. That's truly what's at stake for Dave Roberts. I mean, the firing would have to be miss the postseason or probably get swept in the DS, and you can point to a managerial miscue that he made that would have led to it. But still, Yagamil 23 says, D-Mac, what would it take to make you say fire Dave Roberts? Man, I'm a big Doc defender, man. Honestly, it would have to be a fully healthy roster. You get a perfectly healthy roster and you finish in last place in the National League West. No, I'm just kidding. And you miss the postseason. You miss the postseason. It's you can't. That's not going to happen. They're tied for the best record in baseball. I don't know if I'd fire Dave Roberts after a sweep in the DS, but he'd be firmly on the hot seat where it'd be a put up or shut up year the next year. Let's ask Tony Taters first. What would it take for you to fire Dave Roberts? Nana says D-Mac stands Dave Roberts. Dave's a great guy, really nice guy, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. But I also think too, I've lived through Jim Tracy and I've lived through the managers that we've seen in the past that didn't give you stability. I think that roster construction is more important than the manager, but I think that Dave definitely has a lot to prove this year. Trust me, a lot to prove. If he gets swept in the DS and it's him taking the ball from Yamamoto or Flaherty too early, or a too cute move late there where you're kind of going on script the entire time, then yeah, maybe I would think about it if they're fully healthy. But Tony Taters, what would it take for you?
Yeah, like you said earlier, missing the postseason or a first round exit, that would be the final straw, especially the past couple of years. Just real quick, I was watching when the Dodgers and Padres were going at it. I was at a local bar, Drifters, rest in peace. And then all of a sudden, when the Dodgers started losing, everybody started putting on Padres hats. Everyone's like, "Let's go Padres!"
Oh my
just
God.
screaming. And I was just like, dude, I'll never forget that. But another first round exit, we're missing the postseason, but they're going to make the postseason this year. But if it's another first round exit, I'll probably say it for the first time myself.
Wow. First of all, you see in the frame here, where did you go? There's
Buddy,
Ricardo Sandoval, buddy, what would it take for you to fire Dave Roberts?
get over here.
What's going on, guys? So for me, it would take an early postseason exit this year. Start thinking about it. Next year, if that happens again,
I think that's fair.
he's done.
I think a DS loss this year puts him squarely, firmly on the hot seat.
Oh, yeah.
If you get swept, maybe, but then next year he's gone. How about you, Mr. Noel, Mr. Young Lotto over there?
It's got to be an LDS exit for sure.
Of any kind, even if it's 5 games, doesn't matter who it is.
I think of any kind. As like you said, if we are fully healthy and yeah, he's just making mistakes, making bad calls, then yeah, like I don't know how you like. Obviously, Shohei's not fully healthy; he's not pitching just yet, but you still have him at an MVP level. You have all your guys healthy. I think it would be pretty hard to make excuses at that point.
Yeah, for me, it's tough. It's definitely tough. I mean, I think it depends on the matchup too. I
Yeah,
think it
of
depends
course.
on the situation.
Of course.
But for sure, hot seat for her. The thing is, this is a guy who really should be a 2-time world champion.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. And this is someone who is
100%.
on a Hall of Fame trajectory. So you don't just want to fire a Hall of Fame manager. For his biggest haters. I like this. Jose DMAC, we survived through Grady Little. Oh my goodness. We'll spend a whole show on that tomorrow. But yeah, Grady Little. But yeah, I mean, that's the big thing about Dave Roberts is he doesn't make all the decisions. It's a collaborative effort between him and the front office. I'll spend a whole show on kind of the insight I've seen about just being around him. But I will say that the only time I would really move on from Dave Roberts is if he had a lack of postseason success and I thought that his voice didn't carry the same in the clubhouse. Like Bill Parcells used to say, your voice and your message, it loses its steam after a while. But right now, he still has that command with the players. And every player I talk to says they would run through a wall for Dave Roberts.
Yeah.
They love playing for him. He gives them confidence. And as long as he still has that, and don't forget too, I mean, what Shohei wants, Shohei gets. Does Shohei like Dave Roberts? If the answer is yes, he ain't going nowhere. He ain't in his contract like Andrew Friedman is, but certainly a factor. But Dave Roberts, Jason Garrett, interesting comp there from Bilal K. Cora was part of the 2017 Astros. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. We got Ray Soto says Dave Darvinham Roberts. It's a walk-off shot right there. $5 super chat. Here we go. Julio says, you said to yourself, Doug, Dave Roberts is a nice guy. The team takes on the personality of his coach. No marbles. LOL. Shout out to the Major League reference. I'll give you a fire take right there. The thing about Dave is there is a salty Dave in there at times. I'm not saying that he's nice all the time. He is more of a Johan Ramirez kind of hug and love on you type manager than a guy that's going to Sparky Anderson kind of light a fire under you. But it really just depends on if he carries out. He's really a conduit for the front office, the analytics department, and then he's kind of a figurehead too that handles a lot of things as well. But look, results matter in this business. If Dave Roberts got swept in the NLDS and you could point to a couple of moves, well, just to save face as an organization from an optics standpoint, you would have to say that last 3 years, 2022, you won 111 games and won 1 postseason game. Last year, you won 100 games. You were decimated by injuries. You won none. I mean, if your postseason record in the last 3 years is 1 win and 9 losses, then yeah, certainly. I mean, if it was the NBA, if it was the NFL, he'd be fired, right? So if it happened, I don't think that it would be too shocking because these guys are locked in. Shohei, Freddie, Mookie, the contracts they have, if you're going to go for a shakeup, it would have to be the Manjo spot. That's where they would do it. But we'll touch more on this tomorrow for sure, guys. Thanks again for joining us. As always, join me after tonight's Dodgers Brewers Buehler on the mound. We're going to break it all down on the Dodgers Nation post-game show right after the game. Enjoy the rest of your day. Remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue,